So, in everyone's lifetime, the most painful thing was rejection. Feeling like I wasn't good enough or I wasn't lovable the way that I am. And really, what awakening is, since it is the dissolving of the sense of me, it will trigger the root wounding in a way. It will trigger that sense of I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy, a sense of rejection. And it's a really painful thing to stay with in a way. And obviously, this depends on each individual, but because there's been apparent years of different things that happened to us, different ways that the body reacted, different protection mechanisms, different trauma responses. Um, like all of that can apparently accumulate over time. And so sometimes it does take time to really unravel that and slowly look at all of these different ways that you were triggered and the different ways that were the reasons why these protection mechanisms were put up. And having a lot of gentleness with it, seeing that it was absolute innocence, that you don't exist, you never did anything wrong. It was just the reactions of the body. And this sense of ownership around it it does really complicate things. It makes me feel guilty or shameful. Um, it blames others. It sees an actual individual who hurt me and did wrong, and how could they do that? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's really nothing wrong with all of that movement because it's so understandable that when there's a sense of a center here experiencing everything, like everything is happening to me, then of course those extra layers of emotion will come up. So I think it does kind of depend on what you've been through in your lifetime. If you had a pretty relatively stable and easy life where you felt secure, you felt loved, you felt seen, you weren't really that rejected, then your body might be healthy, strong, and able to handle a lot. The surrender might not be as difficult, so to speak. Not that anyone would be doing that. But if a surrender were to happen, all I can say is that there was trauma here. There was um, a sense of feeling really hurt by the world and others, and all of these different things. And there was an untangling of all of that. Whether it happened before an actual surrender or during this so-called dismantling of the me, like, it does have a different flavor to it. It does have a different sense to it. Because when an actual surrender is just happening, where it's not in the control of me, then things are just being brought up on their own. And there's, in a way, no choice but to feel it, which is very different from, let's say, prior to that, there had to be a choice to see it, to see what was perhaps making life so difficult. So there was more of an active wanting to see all of that stuff. And it's not an easy process. It can be quite painful and beautiful. So what I can say here is that there was a strengthening of the system here. There was a strengthening of, I guess you can call, the nervous system, and a gentle increase in the capacity to hold pain, hold discomfort, be with everything that wanted to be avoided in life, all the uncomfortable things. There was a slow wanting to see it at some point, wanting to be with it. And that did strengthen the body. It unraveled a lot of the things that were kind of hidden. And so when the dismantling of the me seemed to be happening, like, I can't say this for sure, but it seemed like the body was at least strong enough to kind of sense that this was okay, to kind of let it happen in a way. Not that there really wasn't a choice, it was just happening. So, yeah, all of it is a mystery. It really is. You can't definitively define things, and I can't say anything for sure, but that's how it seemed here. And what I see with a friend who had a lot more trauma, and there was this spontaneous awakening or dissolving of the me, then certain things came back, and there was a process, a seeming process that took place that continued to unravel the effects of me. And it was very uncomfortable. It wasn't pleasant. It was difficult. So I definitely think that there is something about that. Something about the capacity within the body to be with pain. And it's not, I'm not talking about a person being with pain. Like it might feel that way if there is a sense of doership, that I am holding this pain. But there is this, the body just knows how much it can handle. It just senses. It's not like a intellectual knowing, it's just a sense. So it definitely felt like all of the most painful hurts of the past were coming up even more powerfully now. And it was very uncomfortable. And interestingly enough, the body was still resisting and fighting at times. There wasn't anything wrong with that. It was just seen as the natural movement of the body. And yet there was also no avoiding the pain anymore. It's just what it was. It's just what was arising. There was, in a way, no choice but to be with it. It was just there. And you know, it's still difficult to see during that time. Like the personal experience can still feel quite real, perhaps. There can be this oscillation between these two realities almost. And and as the body is getting triggered by all of this stuff, and it kind of seems to quiet down, and then everything else seems to be slipping away. Everything that meant something to me feels like it's slipping away. Then eventually, the one that cares, the sense that cares, can also slip away. And then it's just what it is. It's just life. The center, the owner, is gone. Everything is really free to arise. Everything is free to be as it is. The anger, frustration, confusion, resistance, sadness, joy, bliss. There's not much fighting or grasping onto anymore. Everything is just free to come and go. And so nothing really lasts very long. It seems like if bliss comes, it's really enjoyed, and then it goes. If sadness comes, it's really felt. It's just really, it can be more powerful because it's just that. No one is feeling it. It's pure sadness. And there's a real beauty to it. Then it's free to go when it goes. And then it's like it never happened. And really, in the personal experience, that is also actually how it is. But for some reason, in that personal experience, it seems to be able to be held on to energetically more. Because time and space and progression just just feels real. So the actual movement of things, the progression of things, the story of things, the timeline, it just automatically feels more real. And in a way, I really can't see anything wrong with the personal experience. It just seems like a miraculous effect that's able to happen. It is absolutely chaotic as well. But I still see it as pretty amazing. And there's nothing wrong with it. There is no problem with it. It is already this wholeness. It is already free. I can't see an actual individual there. I can't see any separation. It's seen that separation never really existed. But when it is the experience, the reality for that body, then it feels absolutely real. So, in that way, there's no denying it. Even though the ability to see separation, to experience separation, that dissolved. But there's just an automatic, natural understanding of how it can feel, what it's like. And I would say, at least for here, there is compassion for it. And there is a joy to talk about it still. A joy to dismantle things, loosen knots, help in a way, even though nothing's actually happening. No one is becoming free. No one gets anything. The dream might just dissolve, and whether it does or not, it's all equal and perfect already.